not even wanting, but needing another person to help you regulate your nervous system. That's not a bad thing. Like if we could look at that as a basic human need, that we need other people to help regulate our nervous systems. And that is just by nature. That's not a weakness. That's not some sort of terrible thing. That's just by nature. We need other people to help regulate our nervous systems.
We'll make it out and fall in love tonight.
Although we've been doing the thing for
how many years?
A long time.
Yeah.
Long time. And we're finally figuring it out.
Are we?
On any given day. It's a tough weeks.
It is a tough week.
It's a tough weeks.
Right?
We've been sick in this house.
And we're not done.
Yeah, we are. Our son is going to be fine. He's not sick. I'm manifesting it now.
Manifest
I don't know
it.
what to tell you.
Yeah, he's not.
I don't know what to tell you. I sound sick, right?
You do.
It's kind of rough.
Shit. I just choked.
Yeah. You okay?
I'm fine.
You'll be all right.
Try it. Continue on.
Keep pointing at it. So, babe, rather than sit here and talk about how we've been sick, which I know neither of us really wants to because we've been sitting around talking about it all week long.
Let's move on.
I want to talk about a couple of different things, and let's see if I can remember them now off the top of my head, because they were topics that I was like, oh, this would be fun to get into. This feels different, doesn't it?
It does. It feels way different. It's almost like,
I know it's
way
more like intense in a certain extent,
suddenly,
right?
Yeah.
Even though before, like, all we did, folks, if you're like just listening to the podcast, we just simply adjusted chairs. So now we're facing directly across from each other. But
the fact that there's change in our environment, it takes our nervous system a minute to be like,
what's wrong?
There's change.
It's the same thing Roxy does when the garbage can tips over. She's like, what's happening?
There's something new.
What's going on?
Oh my gosh.
Garbage can's tipped over.
My makeup story.
Tell it.
Oh my gosh. I have a makeup case that it's really cool. It was my great grandma's that she would take traveling. So it's this like Samsonite.
Everybody that grew up in the 80s knows exactly what it is.
It's the hard makeup. It's a Samsonite. Like it's like a briefcase for makeup. It is like hardcore. And I love that thing. I love that thing. Whenever we go, I throw my stuff in it when I can and we take that. But I had it out on, because we just got back from our anniversary and I'm slow to unpack. So there's still stuff in there. I'm also thinking that I'm going to weed out the stuff that I don't use. So I'm trying to keep it separate. Anyways, digress into another story. I had it out in the front room because you were like in the bedroom or something. You were using the bathroom and I was in the front room and I had it sitting out there. Or actually, you weren't even home. I think I was just watching shows, doing my makeup on the floor in the front room.
Just hanging out with your makeup briefcase?
With the mirror. I was doing my makeup there. And it was just like, I just used that spot to get ready. And Roxy was sleeping. So when then she came out of she was sleeping in the kennel. So when she came out and she saw that, she was like, what is that? She barked. Her hair's up. She's like, oh, she's trying to figure out what the new thing was. It was a change.
For an object.
It doesn't matter what it is. If something is new in her environment, she's like,
right.
What are you doing?
I don't know about this. We might have to move, everybody. So it's been a good run, but
so that's how we are.
Showed up.
Right? I know who that is.
Samsonite.
Right. We move our chairs and we're like,
I know. It's different. I think it's going to be a good change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to allow you and me to have more in-depth conversations with each other.
That's what I thought immediately until we hit record. And then I was like, oh,
then you got uncomfortable.
Hold on.
Because now we're right here.
We're right here.
We
can drop into the moment.
Yeah. And they're close enough that we could do feet massages.
We should do foot rubs for each other.
We should do some foot rubs.
Do you want to?
No way, because then it'll just dissolve into like, I totally agree with whatever you're saying. Just keep rubbing the feet. No, I saw that reel that really impacted me this week about co-regulation.
Okay.
And it was all a perfect storm of synchronicity where I asked you that question, what do you wish I knew about your day? And your response was, I need more connection with you. I need more physical connection with you throughout our day, especially considering that you and I spend pretty much all day, every day together, even though we might be in different sides of the house or doing something or busy doing work here and there. So it was a very simple request that you had where you're just like, I need more connection with you. And I'm like, okay. I've heard that request before, and it's clearly an important one because you keep requesting it. And every time I feel terrible that you like keep asking for it, then because that's a clear sign that I'm not giving it. But that's not the important part. That stood out to me. And then I don't know, later that day or 2 days prior or 3 days after, I don't know, whenever, some point something comes into my field of vision, and they're talking about the power of co-regulation. And looking at it like a superpower almost. I mean, the reel was highlighting this clip from Survivor, which we don't watch Survivor or anything like that, but I'm just going to rant a little bit. Maybe not rant. That's definitely.
Are you going to extrapolate?
I'm going to extrapolate
right,
this thought that I've been having.
Let me hear what you've been percolating.
Our co-regulation and how important it is. And it's something that you and I do on the regular, but we don't really highlight it necessarily. We don't talk about it out loud. But it's also something that we do talk about out loud and that we do highlight. You know what I mean? It's like the thing that we take for granted, I think, that you and I can literally just calm each other down with co-regulation, with physical connection, with a hug, with just those moments when each of us have needed it. We're right there for each other. So it's this really incredible ability that I think humans have. It's not just a Steph Craig trait. We happen to have it because we're humans, but I think it is a superpower that the human has in order to be able to co-regulate with another person or to regulate another person just simply by regulating their own nervous system within themselves, right? Tell me that's not magic.
I think it is.
Do you know what I mean? Like your nervous system is completely out of whack. And then you come to me and I calm my nervous system. And then I give you a hug and bring you close. And I just got to hold on to you for a few seconds. And next thing you know, your nervous system starts regulating at the vibration that mine is regulated at. That's magic.
I think so.
Right? That's why they put babies up on mamas after they're born so that mom can connect and start co-regulate. Because that's a trip. That's a journey, obviously.
Yeah.
You're going to need some regulation after the fact there. But it just really shifted about, like I said, it was a perfect storm for me where you had that request like the previous day. And then there was, because you've been having some emotional days lately, which is fine, right? That's not a bad thing. And you have done such a good job of communicating, this is what I need. And like you actually verbalize and articulate really, really clearly the exact type of co-regulation that you need the majority of the time now. And I mean, how awesome is that?
That's way cool.
Like, I don't know if you've ever realized that.
Come into action.
It's such a huge shift. Like if you look at the course of your entire life and not being able to communicate your needs, but also not be open for co-regulation, right? So I just thought we could talk all about it because I know that there's so many different components of it.
Well, how does it show up for you in your space? I know that co-regulation is also something that you struggle with. Is like sometimes that giving, you've mentioned that how I keep asking for it. So sometimes it's hard to give, but it's also hard for you to receive.
Yeah.
As you just mentioned with me too, you're very much it's hard to receive the co-regulation when you want to regulate yourself or you feel the only safe way is to regulate yourself, which self-regulation is a big deal too. You also need to be able to regulate yourself, but it's not only self-regulation or, however. So because we're in this relationship where we have each other and we can have the ability to share that magic, how does that feel with allowing me into your space when that's been a scary space for you?
I'm going to squirrel for a minute.
Yeah.
I did not comb my hair before we started recording.
Okay.
Because I was like, I don't care. We slept in today until like 10 or something. Oh my gosh. It was so freaking nice.
Beautiful.
And which meant we were not behind because we're not behind on the schedule that we create.
Right.
What was your schedule? We just did whatever we wanted to do, whatever we wanted to do it. So we're not behind schedule. But it meant that if we slept in and then there was a couple little things I wanted to do this morning. And then we had to get the studio swapped over and get ready for the show. And at some point I'm like, oh, I haven't even brushed my hair yet. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to go do the podcast. So now instead of taking the time to brush my hair, I'm just going to hyper fixate on it in my head the entire time so that it becomes the thing that's distracting me.
Would you like a hug? Co-regulate.
So yeah, it's easy for me to be your co-regulator.
Mhm.
Like it's easy for me to be the person sometimes, right? Yeah. There's always like that. As we talk about a lot of different things on the podcast, it's like, it's never certainty. It's never 100% of the time. There's always sometimes and sometimes not.
Right. And it's really healthy when you're not able to, for you to be able to communicate that with me.
Yes.
Instead of going into that trying to, which creates chaos.
Right.
So.
And that's something that we have only been practicing for the last few years. Like I used to just be like, yep, I'm your co-regulator. Come regulate away, when I was completely empty. I had nothing left to give. Right. And not being able to communicate that. So as I've been sitting with this concept of over the last few days and thinking about it more and more, like I said, it was easy for me to see how I naturally fall into that role with you. I naturally co-regulate with you and for you and everything like that. And I love that. I love being able to hold that space, to be able to create that safety. I love being able to do that for you. And then I was trying to reflect and see how often I allow you to do it for me. And I could get a couple of moments that I've had in the back of my mind. I could think of a few where it happened, right? But I couldn't think of a lot where I asked for it the way that you ask for it.
Yeah.
Like you do, like I said earlier, you do a really good job of communicating. This is what I need and want in this moment. Can you just do this? Can you just hug me? Can you just hold my hand? Can you just do exactly what I'm asking you to do in this moment, because this is what I need? I don't do that very well. I think I'm comfortable at times with you helping me co-regulate. I was thinking about this last night when we were laying on the couch, because it's been in my head, right? Where I like lean over and lay down on your lap as you're laying there, and you're, rubbing my shoulder, and like you're doing all of these kind of nice, different, intimate things as we're just laying there watching TV. But I'm like, oh, that's co-regulation. That's me coming to you. That's me. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same thing where you don't always have to articulate, hey, I need this thing. But
were you looking for connection at that point or regulation?
I mean, I think they're both the same, aren't they?
I mean, maybe. I kind of see them a little different.
I don't. I think it's because I think the reason we're not regulated is because we're not connected. And it's probably a combination of not connected with someone else, but also not connected with ourselves.
I see the connected with the self parts, but there's times I want to connect with you. Like I'm feeling connected. I'm wanting like connection with you. I'm wanting intimacy with you. And I want that touch, that physical touch. And it's, or at least to my knowledge at this point, it doesn't feel like co-regulation. It feels like a connection building, an intimacy building, like that bond that we're nurturing.
Like when I was on the couch, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So it's like, was it feeling like we were nurturing a bond and encouraging connection, or were you just like, oh, I need a minute, and allowed me to like be supportive and be a co-regular in that space is what I'm, did you see?
I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And there's a distinction between those two.
Do you feel that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a distinction between the two things like you're describing now. Yeah. And last night was more about just kind of nurturing our connection and being connected. And it was less about necessarily the co-regulation part.
So if that feels safe, I wonder if you would allow yourself to get curious about what co-regulation might feel safe for you if you want it. Like you might not want it.
That's the thing, is I totally do want it.
Okay.
I think that if we think about it, because like I said, I've been thinking about it for a few days now. It all stems from childhood, obviously. It all stems from wanting, not even wanting, but needing another person to help you regulate your nervous system. But that's not a bad thing. Like if we could look at that as a human basic, or a basic human need, right? That we need other people to help regulate our nervous systems. And that is just by nature. That's not a weakness. That's not some sort of like, terrible thing. That's just by nature. We need other people to help regulate our nervous systems, because we have the type of nervous system that is designed for that or something. You know what I mean? We could unpack it probably and figure it all out scientifically after watching or listening to way more podcasts and then coming back and reporting on it. But I think we're hardwired for it. I think it's built into our nature.
Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Woolly. Let's talk about what's in your clothes. Most fabrics today are loaded with synthetic fibers and microplastics. And every single time you put them on or wash them, those tiny plastics are shedding off into the air, into the water, and even into your skin.
That's why we love Woolly clothing. Their apparel is made from all natural merino wool. No microplastics, no synthetics. Just high quality, comfortable clothes that work with your body and not against it.
And merino wool isn't just soft and comfortable. It's temperature regulating, moisture wicking, and naturally odor resistant. So you can stay cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and fresh all day long.
Plus, it's biodegradable and sustainable. So when you choose Woolly, you're not just upgrading your wardrobe, you're making a smarter choice for the planet.
Right now, listeners of the podcast can save 15% off of everything over at Woolly. Click the link in our description and be sure to use promo code Steph Craig to get that discount.
Wear better, feel better with Woolly clothing.
And I don't think it's just like something that we have the capacity to do. I think it's exactly what we're designed to do. That's why we need people in our lives. We need connection, because through that connection, it allows our nervous systems to feel safe. And we have that mechanism built in there where we need other people to help regulate our nervous systems. So it instantly creates fear.
It does. Instantly. I'm like, bringing in that like need other people for it, I immediately have that like, nope, not me. Like those walls come up. I'm too, it's rocking. It makes me very much like, because self-regulation is a good thing. Not everybody has the opportunity to have somebody there to help them co-regulate. Not everybody is in an environment where the people around them are safe co-regulators.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so much, self-regulation that you need to be able to do. And what my brain does when we talk about healthy co-regulation in a healthy environment and a nurturing environment that you're talking about, which is good, we do need that. We do need that. Is I've got all these tools and I'll use those because needing co-regulation immediately puts up a wall for me that I have to look at and be like, that's interesting. But when I need it with you, I don't always go to you, but like you've mentioned, I'm practicing and I can communicate it. And when you give it, oh my gosh, it feels so good.
Right.
It feels so good. But the thought of needing it, that it triggers a lack within me. It triggers a fear like I'm not going to be able to provide this for myself if I need it from somebody else, which means I'm in a scary place. I have to make sure that I know how to meet this by myself. So I don't have to, like, what happens if that's taken away? What happens if it's funny how much just saying the word need other people threw me from this like really calm space to wait a minute. How funny is that? That's interesting. No, I don't need a hug.
So I've been thinking about it through that lens. It's like, okay, since we're born, that's how we get it's how a baby regulates. Mm-hmm. A baby regulates when they're being held. It's just plain and simple, right? And so that I don't think ever goes away. I don't think that's something that we like grow out of. Like I said, I think that's something that we're hardwired for. So it's a necessity. It's not something that we can just do. It's something that we need. Mm. And then enter in all the reasons why that's not safe for us. All the programs, all the experiences, all the trauma, all the moments in time where we were told otherwise, all the times growing up where we're sent to your room by yourself. Do you know what I mean? We were then taught how not to need the thing. Mm-hmm. We were then taught that co-regulation and needing somebody else to help you calm down and relax was actually not the case.
Right. And that was more about the person not being able to give that, but making you wrong for needing it. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. It's their inability to regulate, but it's not even like, imagine if we've got, because I kept trying to think about it from the perspective of when our kids were babies.
Yeah.
And it was like,
I was thinking that too.
Holding them was at times stressful, right? At times it was frustrating. At times it was like, gosh, I can't do the things that I need to do because, I can't set this baby down. But the truth of it is it's like, if I separate all of that like, oh, I can't do the things that I need to do. And I'll hold babies all day long. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm totally fine and that's eventually what happened with Maddie, where it was just like, okay, I guess we can't set this one down. I'm just going to hold her and do everything. And it was so much easier in a sense, not just because she wasn't fussing anymore or anything, but it also just felt really natural. It also was regulating my nervous system. Like, that's the thing that we think about is when I offer up, when I'm helping you co-regulate, it's not a one-way street. It's not me suddenly just being like, oh, okay, now I'm offering up regulation to you. You're regulating my nervous system at the same time. So like in the clip that we watched, the reel that all of this sparked for me on, right? It's a clip from Survivor, and this reel, and I apologize, like if you're a Survivor fan, or if this is, I have no idea if anybody else has seen this reel. I don't know if it's like a viral thing that's taking place.
I think it's getting a lot of traction of being like, this is healthy masculinity. This is what that healthy connection looks like. Because after you showed it, it's like popping up all over.
So you've seen it a couple of places. Okay. So hopefully you've seen that. And I'd love to tell you that we're going to go back and share it down in the show notes and you can go find it. That's not going to happen. Yeah. But it's a clip from Survivor. And this woman gets done with this challenge and she's having this big emotional experience. And her partner, I think it's her partner. I don't know if they're dating. I don't know if they're just friends. I don't know what it is.
I think they're just, yeah.
Right. We don't have the backstory on any of this because we're not fans of Survivor, but it appears that they're together, that they're in a relationship together.
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that part?
I didn't get that. I might be wrong, but I didn't get that. Oh. It felt like a...
Just a friendship thing?
It felt like a platonic.
Okay.
But whether it ends that way or not, I don't know. But
well, regardless, it doesn't really matter. We don't know.
I'm speculating off of a clip that I created a whole story about. And be like, this is what's going on.
These two people have been dating in secret for the past 18 months. But it shows the little bit of back and forth where he's getting very worked up watching her have this reaction because he wants to go over and help, right? And she's getting very worked up. And as soon as they're like, okay, Bob, go over, you can help Susan. I have no idea what these people's names are, obviously. He immediately like wraps her up, starts helping her calm down and relax. And his nervous system does the exact same thing. So he's in an activated state watching this take place because he's like, come on, let me go over there. Let me go over there. I got to go help. I got to go help. And as soon as it happens, both nervous systems. So it's the co-regulation part. But I think that's the component that we often forget about, where if you hold your baby is also going to help you relax. Your baby is also going to help you regulate your nervous system because that's the part of the process that takes place. That's why we're designed for it.
I can totally track that because I was thinking of like the things that were coming up with Stevie is I held her so much that like it's the thing, you can't get anything done, or you can do what you can do one-handed. And then when they nap is when you put them down and then you can do the things. Yeah. But she would fall asleep and I would just stare at her. Like I wouldn't put her down. I would just hold her. Yeah. You know, it was just, and at one point my mom's like, you need to put that baby down and let her learn how to crawl. Cause she's like, she didn't have a need to, I had her. And so I'm just like checking that of how much I was soothing her, but how much she was soothing me, that even when she like, that I needed to put her down so she could start to crawl. Cause I was like, So that tracks really strong. That's what connects with me. And I can think about that in other areas too. So I'm following what you're saying there.
Like it makes so much sense that it would be reciprocal. Yeah. It's not just this one-way street of let me help you calm your nervous system with my calm regulated nervous system.
Right. Look at me being all calm and regulated.
It's just this give and take that we get to share and experience and together. So I think having awareness of these different things, and I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about like all the reasons why it's not safe and why it doesn't feel good and why I struggle with it. I feel like everybody relates to those. I feel like we all understand what it means when it's like, why don't we ask for help? Well, we don't ask for help because enter in the entire history of my
Right.
life where, do you know what I mean? Help wasn't safe to ask for. Or, you know, all of us were sent to our room at some point when we were having an emotional experience.
Right. And then at some point we stopped coming out of our rooms.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we were trained to regulate by ourselves.
Yeah.
And that makes total sense why it's really hard to do it in a relationship now, or why it's hard to let other people help you in the process of doing it. But
Yeah.
I think for me, rather than sitting there trying to like struggle with, boy, this is really hard for me to do, and I don't know, I'm just going to lean super heavy and, oh, this is like breathing for me. I'm cheating myself out of a basic human, not just need, but like requirement. Like it's quite literally how we're designed. Like I can't express that enough. It rings of so much truth to me that this is what is necessary in order for us to be healthy. We need physical connection and co-regulation with other people, period. Like just period. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there needs to be anything else. This podcast could end right now,
Right.
and we could wrap it up on just
That's
that.
it. Thanks for joining us.
But doesn't it like, wouldn't you say, like, as you sit and think about it now, doesn't it feel that strong? Doesn't it feel like that much of a need?
It does. It does. And that still brings up a lot in me. It's that much of a need, and because there's always both, like it is healthy to be able to regulate yourself too. So if you can never find that peace unless somebody's regulating you, then that's going to put you in that's going to be a difficult thing for you to experience. That's going to be something that is going to pop up in your space where self-regulation is also healthy. That's the, I guess that's the part, right? Because it's not that you can't do it without somebody, but it is maybe a healthier, or you can go farther with somebody. I don't know how, I don't quite have it all thought out in my head. Because I am able to regulate myself, and I do a damn good job. Not always, sometimes flying off the handle, eating a whole pizza to myself, whatever, but I am able to do it. And when I can co-regulate with you, that feels really good. And that's a different kind of regulation that happened. That's a different sensation that happens in my body. That's a different type of regulation that comes out, that is very nurturing, that is very healing, that is very happy and healthy. Like so much, I get a different kind of benefit from co-regulating than I get when I regulate by myself. And that also feels very different than when, because I've also like clung, I can't do this. I need you to regulate me. And that's not a co-regulation. That's a complete dependence, I don't know. So I feel like I've hit everywhere on it, and it is necessary. It is necessary. You can regulate yourself, and it does regulate differently when you have somebody co-regulate with you.
I would almost say the regulation, like regulating your own nervous system, like doing the work by yourself, I think is something different. I don't think it's regulation.
Yeah. And what do you think it is?
I don't know. Just listening to you talk about it, like if I'm hearing it through the lens of like co-regulation is required, meaning it's like air, it's like water, it's like food, it's what's needed for the human,
Yeah.
right? Then what would be the benefit of learning how to do that quote unquote regulation without other people? Well, there's times when you have to, in a sense, right? If I'm have to travel alone, if I have to go from point A to point B and we can't take everybody, like I have to learn how to, I'm thinking about it like from a much earlier state, right? Not necessarily hopping on a plane, but I'm thinking about like caveman days when we have to, sometimes we're going to be stranded alone by ourselves. So we have to be able to remain calm in those situations. And we have to have things that will help us stay calm and relax and focus so that we can do what we need to do. But like the actual, because you said there's such a distinct feeling, there's something really, really different. Like if I'm calming myself and I'm relaxing myself and I'm taking my nervous system from an activated state to a calm state, and I'm doing it by myself, the physical sensation in my body that takes place, what happens and how it actually feels inside of my body feels completely different than when I co-regulate with you.
Yes.
It's a
It does feel
completely
different.
different sensation. So that tells me that it's something different. It's not the same thing. Because when we co-regulate together, it feels...
Today's episode is brought to you by Heritage Still. Let's be honest, your cookware matters. And if you're still cooking with mass-produced non-stick pots and pans, you're missing out on better flavors, better durability, and better craftsmanship.
That's why we went with Heritage Still. All of Heritage Still's cookware is manufactured right here in Tennessee. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, just ironclad stainless steel designed to give you exceptional heat control and long-lasting performance.
Whether you're a pro in the kitchen or just learning your way around, Heritage Still makes your cooking easier, more precise, and more enjoyable. One of the biggest benefits of going with stainless steel cookware from Heritage Still is you won't be exposing yourself or your family to those toxic chemicals in that nonstick cookware.
And right now, for listeners of the Steph and Craig Show, you can save 10% off everything at their website. Head over to heritagestill.us/Steph and Craig and be sure to use promo code Steph and Craig at checkout to save that 10%.
Invest in cookware that lasts a lifetime. Heritage Still, chef-grade cookware for less.
I mean, easy isn't just, it's almost like the difference between like water and like being in the water and not being in the water.
Okay.
Or do you know what I mean? Like it's so...
Sitting on the beach is nice too.
Sitting on the beach is nice. But like, do you know what I mean? Like co-regulation, it just feels natural.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like, oh, I don't have to do anything. It just happens.
Okay.
And the other way, I have to do something.
Okay.
I have to create the thing in order to help me relax, as opposed to just having the thing.
True. That's true.
Having the regulation because I've got another person there. And we're feeding that energy back and forth off of each other. And obviously we know that the co-regulation also works on the opposite end, right?
You can
we can wind each other
right?
up, right? Try to connect physically and
I'm
intimately.
triggered. I need you to be
on.
triggered with me. Let's go. Let's go.
Exactly. So
Look at politics.
It's a beautiful, natural thing that takes place.
Yeah.
But if we just have to use it in the opposite way, right? Recognize that it's a thing. I don't know, babe. It's just like, it's going to be with me for a while as I keep thinking about it. And I think the truth of it is the reason why it's standing out so much to me right now is because I need it.
You need co-regulation.
Yeah. Which means I got to open up to it way, way more, which means I got to learn how to ask for it from you. And I have to learn how to like articulate what it actually feels like for me and what I need in those moments. And that's a step for me that, you know, it's slow going. It's one of those things that I've been working on quite a bit, but at the same time, it's an area where I've got lots of room for growth of learning how to communicate what my needs are specifically around co-regulation with you. Because like I said, talking about it and thinking about it so much the last few days, I'm like, okay, this is in my space for a reason. It's here because this is something that I need to look at, something that I need to deal with, something that I need to process, something that I need on my path and on my journey. Does that make sense?
That makes so much sense. So much sense. That's a really big thing to recognize that you need it and to be able to ask for it and go into that space. That's a big, like for me, just hearing need, right? It triggered this thing. So for you to be able to say, I need this is really like, that's a really beautiful, big thing.
Thank you.
You're doing so good.
Yeah. I'll figure out how, I mean, like everything else, right? We'll just keep sloppily figuring it out and trying to, make it happen. Like when I started looking at it, I was just seriously, I'm like, you're killing it. Like you're so good at it.
Oh, thank you.
You're so good at asking for what your needs are. It's just this really amazing thing that you have like the ability to do now. It's so cool.
Thank you. I have a really big tip for you and anyone else who's working on co-regulation and being able to ask for it that I use a lot that might help you feel more safe in that space if you're interested.
Fire away.
You mentioned how good I am at asking for it. I need a hug. I need, to hold my hand. The other thing I do is when I need that to stop, when I'm done with the hug, when I'm done with that, I will let go. I will be able to get out of that space and be like, thank you, that's enough, or however, but I don't have to stay in that space longer than that co-regulation is needed or longer than feels safe. So sometimes when you think, if I ask for this, then we're going to be in this embrace all day, and that is overwhelming. That is too much, and I'm going to need space after. So being able to drop in with co-regulation and step out is also a way that you're going to regulate your body. It's not about not ever having an activation or always being regulated. It's just what you do when it comes up. And also that regulation can hit a part where it starts to activate. So to be able to step out is a healthy way for you to create a safe space for yourself.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like the way you just described that makes so much sense.
Mm.
And I can see that like that is a component for me where it's more like there's a part of it where it's like I don't know what necessarily to ask for, but then I do also know that there's a part of me that really like almost I need small, we talk about it sometimes in the like I need a sip of water, I don't need the ocean.
Yes.
Like sometimes we're trying to dump so much love on each other because one of us is sad or going through something, and it's like I can't take all of that energy, just give me a drink. And I think that that's a part of it where I don't know how to regulate like how much I actually need. So my default is always just like, that's enough. I'm good. I'm okay. And knowing that there's some space to just be like, okay, I'm good. But I don't know. There's that. And then there's another part of it too, where I still struggle thinking that I'm not putting you out.
Okay.
So it's like, it's hard for me to think about, okay, I need you to help me slow down and regulate my nervous system now through some co-regulation techniques or hugs or whatever. And in doing so, I'll be requiring you to stop doing what you're doing, which is going to, affect your day and affect like, it's still that thing inside of me that's like afraid to ask for what I want. Because it means that the other person is going to have to stop doing what they're doing in order to give it to me.
That's really hard to push through.
And that's all childhood. I mean, that's all being a little kid, right? I think seeing that your parents are too busy all the time to do this, that, and the other. And every time you ask, even just for like, hey, can you play, come outside and play catch or sit down and do this thing with me? And then you get all the reasons why they're too busy and that's too hard. And then you're like, okay, well, if I ask for needs, it means that somebody's going to have to stop doing what they're doing. And that's a hard thing to ask somebody else to do. But intellectually, I know obviously that I can do that and I can ask that of you. And then I can also trust that you'll say, I can't. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of good stuff here that we need to work on.
Yes. You're doing so good. It's really, really hard to ask for that. It's really, really difficult. It's like you mentioned at the beginning, we're talking about like how we co-regulated with our babies, right? And how when we could regulate them, that was also regulating us. So you can see how that goes both ways, that if you ask, I'm going to regulate with you and trust that I'm going to say no, which is a scary thing, right? Yeah. And just to be able to say, I'm going to allow myself to be a priority in this moment, even if that means that you're going to stop doing what you're doing and spend some of that time with me. That's a really it's not easy. It's important and it's healthy and it's good and it's safe and all those things. And the truth is, if it doesn't feel safe, then it's not easy. It's really hard to step into that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard.
I think the idea that it's something that we need and we're not really getting, like I wouldn't be surprised, the reality is like you and I are very close and have a great relationship and all of these kind of different markers that we could throw up on the wall and be like, this is how we're succeeding in our relationship right now and in our life. This idea of, and it's not just like co-regulation and being able to talk through things and support each other and actively communicate and listen. I think that's a communication, right? Thing. I think that's communication in a relationship, which is something that we've done a ton of work on and is really, really important. But I think co-regulation is the physical connection. It's the hugs. It's the intimate physical connection. I think that's the part that I'm talking about. And
that's the part that you're talking about, or that's what it is?
No, I mean, it's like you and I can, we have it all the time on the podcast. We'll sit here from across, now we're sitting across from each other, but we'll talk.
This is more intimate, by the way.
It is more intimate.
I do like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll have this connection with each other that calms us and we feel connected and we feel good. Yeah. And that's great.
That's also co-regulation, right?
Yes. But again, the difference between this and the physical connection, the hug, the holding on to each other, the feeling of each other's breath back and forth, completely different.
It is completely
different experience. And that's the part that I think we need all of these things, right? It's not like you only need this part and you don't need that. We get all of these things.
The one you need more is the one that you're lacking the most.
Yes.
So like not having that, you're like, this is important. This is what we need. This is because we're having this, but we need more of this.
Yes.
So that's why we're seeing this is a lack. And the truth is that it is a lack. I feel like that's widespread just since the pandemic and Zooms and long distance. It's like we can offer this a lot more and it's more readily available than it is to be able to hug somebody. And it is very different and it is very important and it's at a lack.
Yeah.
So I see. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think the vast majority of relationships, even the ones that are healthy, good, strong relationships are probably at a deficit when it comes to this type of co-regulation, this physical connection, the hugging, and I mean, let's fix it.
Yeah. We started that at the beginning. You know, I need more connection with you throughout the day. There's just that part of like, I see you all day and we do this, but it's like, why are we in bubbles around each other? Like, and then it's like, I need that physical connection because you're there. And it's not like we're at different job sites, you know, and then we come and then we see each other. So that just speaks to what you're saying so much. Like
yeah.
I'm ready to come sit on your lap right now and record the podcast.
That's what I was thinking. I'm just going to sit on your lap now and do the episode that way from now on. We'll just both talk into the same mic. We'll Sunny and share it here for a minute, just singing into the same microphone.
I got you, babe.
Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Routine. We've been on the hunt for an electrolyte powder that we can add to our water each day, and we're excited to tell you that we've found it. Morning Routine is a special blend of organic lemon, apple cider vinegar, Himalayan sea salt, and all the other essential electrolytes that you need for each day. Morning Routine is also non-GMO, it's organic, it's dairy, gluten, sugar, and soy-free, keto-friendly, 100% vegan, and made right here in the USA. It's made with organic lemon and doesn't contain any synthetic dyes or preservatives. There's also zero sugar, which blew me away. I tried it for the first time recently when I was outside doing yard work on a hot day, and it seriously made me feel like a kid again because it tasted like a fresh glass of lemonade. Right now, listeners of the podcast can save 10% off anything at Routine. Head over to yourroutine.com/Steph Craig and be sure to enter in the promo code Steph Craig at checkout to get that 10% off. Start your day off right with Morning Routine. Your body will thank you.
Yeah, it's got me all sorts of curious, and I think it's interesting too. Earlier when we were talking, because like I said, this just came up in front of me. I just saw this as a reel, and I think that the things that we need on our path when we're walking and we're exploring, and we're healing and we're changing, and truthfully, just whatever, when you're on your path, those things are going to be like they're just in front of you all the time, every step of the way. And recognizing that through that lens, I can see, like I said earlier, where it's like, oh, this is something that I need. This is a deficit. This is an area of my life that I'm lacking in, that I need more of, because suddenly it catches my attention and I go towards it and I look at it and I think about it. So that's a sign, basically, is what I'm getting at. Is it's like, it's easy to see what you need in your life in order to create the life that you want, because what you're drawn to and what you're attracted to and what you're looking at and what you're focusing on are the things that you need. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it's really simple when you think about it. And I think we make it really, really difficult, like always, right? It's always this really simple thing. You just need a hug. And we're like, actually, I need years of therapy. I need to learn all about somatic and all about this and all about, and it's like, actually, you just need a hug. And you're like, well, that's too easy. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Just a hug's all you need. Just start hugging people more.
Not immediately. I'm like, oh.
I know. It's like, I don't want to hug everybody.
Right.
Everybody needs a hug.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the one that's giving it.
I wonder if, yeah.
There's somebody out there to hug everybody.
There's somebody to hug, and you're not supposed to, you don't have to hug everybody who wants a hug.
Yeah.
You can say no. Like for real, you can say no.
Healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries.
Well, babe, I think we should wrap up simply
Okay.
because my nasal post-strip isn't lasting as long as I had hoped it would. This is a
Good.
butt kicker of a cold flu, whatever we got going on.
Yeah, it took me out. It's taken you. Now Asher's not going to get it. So
He's going to be fine.
Yeah. let's do it.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Go to stephandcraig.co. Got some new stuff there.
Mm.
You can work with both of us. If you are interested, you can learn more about it at our website. Go follow us on social, everywhere you can find podcasts as well. And we don't say it enough, but if you enjoy the podcast and you really like it, please share it with somebody. Send them this episode. Make sure to comment down below, leave us a review. All of those things really help the podcast grow and expand and reach more people. And we have a mission in life, and it's just simply showing up and sharing our lived experience of healing together in an effort to help you on your path, because we're all doing this thing together, this magical healing journey that we're on. Right, babe?
Right.
Expect the best.
Plan for the greatest.
And we'll see everybody
We
soon.
got a wild ride. Wait and see, you and me. We were meant to
Thank
be.
you for listening to this podcast. You've made it all the way to the end, and we are so grateful for you. If you have a moment, you could take time to like, subscribe, and share this episode. It really helps us. And also, if you liked this episode, which you're still here, so you probably did, you might like these clips too. And again, thanks for supporting the Steph and Craig Show. There's new episodes every week. See you next time.